Jake was a street dog used to the harshness of life on the city's corners and alleys. His brown fur was always dusty, his brown eyes reflected a mix of sadness and resilience, and his visible ribs were a testament to the scarcity of food. Jake didn't know the comfort of a home or the affection of a family. His nights were spent under the protection of trees or inside cardboard boxes, and his days were a constant struggle to find food and avoid dangers. Despite everything, he had an indomitable spirit and a kind heart, always willing to help other street animals that crossed his path. Lily was a 10-year-old girl with a curious look but a somewhat indifferent attitude towards animals. She grew up in a family that never had pets, and the lack of contact with dogs or cats made her develop a certain indifference, which sometimes turned into irritation. Lily preferred to spend her time alone, immersed in her books or playing video games. She didn't understand the connection that many people had with their pets and saw street dogs as dirty and dangerous creatures. Her mother always told her to be careful with street dogs, which only increased her reluctance to approach them. The first encounter between Jake and Lily happened on a sunny afternoon in the neighborhood park. Lily was returning home from school, with her backpack slung over one shoulder and headphones blocking out the sounds around her. Jake, hungry and tired, was rummaging through a trash can for something edible. When Lily passed by, Jake watched her for a moment before returning to his search. Unintentionally, Lily dropped a packet of cookies that was on the side of her backpack. Jake, seizing the opportunity, ran to the packet and began devouring it. Lily turned around when she heard the noise and, seeing Jake, took a step back with a mix of surprise and disgust. The mutual distrust was palpable. Jake, despite his hunger, kept his distance from Lily, ready to flee at the slightest sign of threat. Lily, on the other hand, was torn between the fear instilled in her by her mother and a growing curiosity about the dog. She had never been so close to a street dog before, and as scary as he seemed, there was something in Jake's eyes that didn't seem dangerous. Still, she maintained her defensive posture, muttering something like, "dirty dog," while trying to recover her cookies. Jake, not understanding the words, just tilted his head to the side, watching her with attentive eyes. Then Spike appeared. A large, mean dog known for terrorizing the neighborhood. His presence was always a bad omen for other street dogs, who knew he wouldn't hesitate to use force to get what he wanted. Spike had shiny black fur and eyes that constantly conveyed a threat. When he entered the park, Jake immediately tensed, recognizing the imminent danger. Lily, unaware of Spike's reputation, didn't realize the approaching danger. Lily, not understanding the threat Spike represented, began to inadvertently provoke him. She thought all dogs were the same and, without thinking about the consequences, threw a piece of cookie in Spike's direction, trying to scare him away. Instead of scaring the dog, Lily's action only irritated Spike further. He growled, showing sharp teeth, and lunged towards her. The girl froze, realizing too late the mistake she had made. Jake's heart raced as he watched the scene, feeling the urgent need to intervene. Jake watched from a distance, every muscle in his body tense and ready for action. He knew that even as a street dog, he had to do something to protect Lily, despite her initial indifference. Jake felt a protective instinct awaken within him, something he hadn't experienced since he was abandoned. He realized he couldn't allow Spike to hurt the girl. With one last look around, making sure there was no one else to help her, Jake began to move forward slowly, preparing to face Spike and save Lily from the increasingly dangerous situation. Spike advanced towards Lily with terrifying fury. His white, sharp teeth gleamed in the sunlight as he emitted a deep growl that echoed through the park. Lily, paralyzed by fear, could only watch as the dog approached dangerously fast. Her mind raced, trying to understand how her innocent provocation had led to such a threatening situation. Lily's heart pounded uncontrollably, and she felt a wave of panic wash over her body. Every step Spike took felt like a hammer blow to her chest as the world around her disappeared, leaving only the sight of the fierce dog coming her way. Jake, who had been watching from afar, realized there was no more time to waste. He knew he needed to act quickly to save Lily. Without hesitation, he started running towards the danger, his lean body cutting through the air with determination. With each step, Jake felt the weight of responsibility and urgency. He couldn't allow Spike to hurt the girl. The wind blew in his face, but he didn't slow down. With a strong and determined bark, Jake caught Spike's attention, who abruptly turned his head, surprised by the new adversary approaching. Jake was ready for the confrontation that was about to unfold. The confrontation between Jake and Spike was intense and fierce. Jake used all his agility to dodge Spike's brutal attacks while trying to find an opening to counterattack. The two dogs engaged in a desperate fight, with teeth and claws flying in all directions. The sound of growls and barks filled the air, mixed with Lily's panicked screams. Jake knew he couldn't back down, as Lily's safety depended on him. He fought with a strength that came from his unyielding determination to protect the girl. The battle seemed endless, and both dogs were exhausted, but Jake remained steadfast, driven by a protective instinct he didn't even know he possessed. Emily, a passerby, watched the scene in shock. She had been walking through the park when she heard Lily's screams and the furious barking of the dogs. As she approached, she saw the intense battle between Jake and Spike, and her heart tightened with tension. Emily didn't know what to do, fearing to get too close and make the situation worse. She looked around, desperately seeking help, but the park was eerily empty. Jake's courage deeply impressed her, and she felt a mix of admiration and concern for the street dog risking his life to save a girl. Emily knew she needed to do something, but all she could do was watch and hope that Jake could win the fight. But before we continue, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you love animals and their fascinating stories. With one last heroic effort, Jake managed to knock Spike down. Using all his strength and skill, he pushed the adversary to the ground and held him there, immobilized. Spike tried to get up but was too exhausted to continue the fight. Jake, panting and injured, maintained his position, showing Spike that he wouldn't let him hurt Lily. Finally, Spike gave up and, with a growl of defeat, ran away. Jake remained alert, ready to attack again if necessary, but seeing that Spike wasn't returning, he relaxed a bit. He had won the battle and protected Lily, but he knew there was still much to be done. Jake ran to Lily, who was lying on the ground, crying in fear and pain. Carefully he approached, gently licking her hand in a gesture of comfort. Lily looked at Jake, her eyes full of tears but also gratitude. She realized that the street dog, who once seemed so insignificant, had risked his life to save her. Struggling, she stood up, holding on to Jake's fur for balance. Jake stayed by her side, ready to support her, as she tried to catch her breath and understand what had just happened. The fear was still present, but Jake's comforting presence helped her feel a little safer. At that moment, Lily's parents arrived, running towards their daughter with expressions of pure panic. They had been alerted by the screams and commotion in the park and feared the worst. Seeing Lily standing, supported by Jake, a mix of relief and worry washed over them. Her mother ran to hug her, while her father looked in awe at the street dog that had saved his daughter. They listened to Lily and Emily recount what had happened, and Jake's heroic act left them speechless. They never imagined that a street dog could demonstrate such bravery and loyalty. With tears in their eyes, they approached Jake, grateful for the role he played in saving their daughter's life. Lily's parents couldn't hold back their tears as they embraced their daughter, still in shock after the attack. They turned to Jake, the street dog who had become a hero that day, with an expression of gratitude that couldn't be put into words. Lily's mother knelt beside Jake, gently stroking his head and murmuring words of thanks between sobs. Her father, with a choked voice, promised to take care of Jake and never let him go hungry again. Lily, still trembling, looked at Jake with newfound admiration, feeling a deep connection with the dog who had risked everything to save her. The scene was one of pure emotion, with everyone recognizing Jake's bravery and sacrifice. While everyone was recovering from the scare, Captain Michael, a firefighter off duty in the park, approached the group. He looked at Jake with a keen eye and, after a few seconds, exclaimed in surprise, "That's Jake! I trained him years ago as a rescue dog." The revelation took everyone by surprise. Captain Michael explained that Jake had been one of the best rescue dogs on the team, but after an injury that compromised his ability to work, he had disappeared. Jake's story as a hero in the past made everyone realize that his act of bravery that day was not a coincidence, but a testament to his unwavering character. Lily, still feeling the adrenaline from the event, looked into Jake's eyes and felt a connection she had never experienced before. She had never been fond of animals, but Jake's courage and the affection with which he had rescued her completely changed her perspective. She knelt beside him, stroking his dirty matted fur, and felt a deep gratitude and affection grow within her. "Thank you, Jake," she whispered, with tears in her eyes. From that moment on, Lily decided she would do everything possible to ensure Jake had a better life. She knew that, in some way, he was now a part of her life in a way she had never imagined. In the days following the incident, Lily was taken to the hospital to recover from the trauma and injuries. Although she was physically improving quickly, the emotional impact took longer to heal. Every visit from Jake to the hospital brought a smile to Lily's face and seemed to speed up her recovery. The dog, who always waited patiently by her bed, became a constant source of comfort and joy for her. The bond between them grew stronger each day, and Lily found in Jake the courage to face her fears and anxieties. He became a symbol of strength and resilience in her life. While Lily was recovering, the police began investigating the incident to understand how Spike, the mean dog, had become so aggressive. They discovered that Spike belonged to a negligent neighbor who let him roam the streets unsupervised, resulting in increasingly hostile behavior. The discovery led to swift action by authorities, who took measures to ensure that Spike was placed in a safe and controlled environment where he could receive the necessary training and attention. The investigation also revealed failures in the neighborhood's animal supervision, leading to a broader discussion about the importance of responsible pet care. With Jake and Lily now inseparable, Lily's parents and Captain Michael started meeting frequently, sharing stories of their experiences with rescue dogs and the positive impacts these animals have on their lives. Captain Michael spoke enthusiastically about past adventures with Jake, revealing heroic episodes that no one knew about. These stories fascinated Lily, who listened attentively, admiring her new canine friend even more. Each story reinforced Lily and her parents' decision to ensure Jake had a bright and secure future where his bravery could always be recognized and appreciated. After the emotional night of the rescue, Lily's parents decided that the first thing to do for Jake was to take him to the vet. At the clinic, Dr. Thompson, an experienced and kind veterinarian, thoroughly examined Jake. Despite his life on the streets, Jake was surprisingly healthy, though a bit thin and with some scratches. Lily watched attentively as the vet treated Jake's minor wounds and gave him the necessary vaccinations. Jake's usually vigilant and distrustful look softened with Dr. Thompson's kindness, as if he knew he was finally in good hands. With the vet's approval, Jake returned home with Lily's family, where he began to adjust to his new life. At first, he still seemed nervous, peeking into the corners of the house and startling at loud sounds. But as the days passed, the routine of a safe and loving home began to change his behavior. Lily spent hours petting Jake and talking to him, telling him stories about school and friends. Every healthy meal, every comfortable bed, and every received affection reinforced Jake's trust, and soon he began to show a playful and affectionate side that no one had seen before. The story of Jake's heroic rescue quickly spread through the city, turning the street dog into a true local hero. Captain Michael made sure to tell everyone how Jake had saved Lily, and the news reached local newspapers and social media. Neighborhood children started asking to play with Jake, and adults came to Lily's house to meet the brave dog. Jake, now well-fed and with a new sparkle in his eyes, enjoyed the attention with gratitude, knowing he had finally found his place in the world. As Jake adapted to his new life, Lily's family realized he still had a lot of energy and love to give. They decided to adopt another dog, this time from a local shelter. This is how Charlie, a small and lively beagle, entered their lives. At first, Jake was a bit reserved, watching the new family member with curiosity. But quickly, the two dogs became inseparable, running and playing together in the yard, sharing toys, and even sleeping side by side. Jake's joy was contagious, and he seemed more complete with Charlie's company. Lily and Jake developed a special connection that grew stronger every day. They spent hours together in the park, where Lily taught Jake to fetch balls and jump obstacles. Jake, in turn, seemed to understand every word and movement of Lily, always ready to protect and cheer her up. The trust and affection between them were palpable, and Lily couldn't imagine her life without Jake. The nights were especially comforting, with Jake lying at Lily's feet, ensuring she always felt safe and loved. Jake's presence and his heroic story had a profound impact on the community. Neighbors who barely knew each other began to come together, sharing their own pet stories and offering to help each other. The local park, where Jake and Lily spent so much time together, became a gathering place for families and their dogs, creating an environment of camaraderie and support. The city seemed more united and supportive, inspired by Jake's simple act of bravery. With Jake well adjusted to his new life and surrounded by love, Lily's family looked to the future with optimism. Lily, now more aware of the importance of animals, started getting involved in rescue and adoption activities, helping other children and families understand the value of having a pet. Jake, always by her side, continued to be a symbol of hope and resilience, reminding everyone that even in the most difficult situations, there is always a chance for a new beginning. On a sunny afternoon in the park, while Lily, Jake, and Charlie ran together, it was clear that the future was bright and full of possibilities for this family united by love and courage. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and leave your like. If you enjoyed this story, don't miss the next exciting one.